welcome to the class of 2027 college planning kickoff meeting. I can't believe we're saying that, right? So congrats to our students, our parents. Jeanette Alomia, Director of Counseling, we welcome you. We hope you find this session informative, and hopefully we will open some doors for you, give you some tools and resources, and not just overwhelm you with a lot of information. But we're here to support you. Our presentation will be presented by our wonderful counselors. We have Ms. Donahue, who is our wellness counselor / 504 chairperson, Ms. Ferraro, and Mr. Spinato. Once again, we will be covering the college application, college planning process as a kickoff to this season. Tonight's presentation will be recorded. The recording will be published on our, I'm so excited, our YouTube channel is up and running, so I hope that you can access it through our website. We will share that out in one of our last slides. Also, I hope you grabbed our handouts. First and foremost, we have a resource guide with a plethora of information along with the timeline and all those tasks that not only the student but the parent and both will be engaging throughout this year and next. Additionally, we also have, we provided a printout of the PowerPoint presentation and the QR code so you can access the presentation digitally. And so let's begin. So tonight we will cover various topics. First and foremost, this is an overview. This is not an all-inclusive information session. This is, as I mentioned, an overview, a kickoff, prior to your meetings with your individual meetings with your school counselor, and also prior to the upcoming classroom presentations that the counselors are conducting and facilitating. So first and foremost, we will be discussing and exploring college options and finding that best fit for students. Our mission is to ensure that every student is well informed, has the resources and tools to explore various colleges, but also to lead and move on to an amazing university that fits their unique talents, interests, criteria. So we will also talk about the components of the application. By a show of hands, who is a seasoned college parent who has a son or daughter in college already? Okay. So you will be called upon to come up and present along with us. Just kidding. But as you probably will realize that although that's as much as we think we know the college admissions or the college application process, it's an ever-changing field, right? And so whenever we think that we know about test optional policies or financial aid or what's early action versus early decision, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, a new initiative or a new policy comes our way. And so we will be discussing components of the application. We will also be touching upon a timeline, again, tasks and items and responsibilities that you, your student, and both of you would engage. And we'll also explore what is the summary of roles for stakeholders such as students, parents, and counselors. We will also have a moment at the end for questions and answers, so please jot down all those questions that you may have. No question is silly. If you prefer to approach us individually, that's great too, but please feel free and comfortable to pose your questions so that everyone else can learn from the actual discussion. So when it comes to the junior college planning, every student in grade 11 will be participating in classroom presentations led by the counselors. Actually, when was it? Last Monday, right before Thanksgiving, the counselors conducted their session 1 of the college kickoff presentation. And then tomorrow is our session 2. So session 1, basically it was the introduction to the college exploration process, qualities to consider when exploring college options, what should students and families consider, and then tomorrow is the reverse, how colleges evaluate students and planning for college testing. So we also have our session 3, which is students, if you can jot down, January 8th, the counselors will be going into the classrooms. And so they're all going to bring it all together and discuss how college majors, interests, and extracurricular activities, as well as the importance of developing a college list, the junior bio, and next steps. So what is the junior bio and the junior conference? I'm sure as the more seasoned parents have experienced this. So the junior bio is basically the student's brag sheet. It's a questionnaire in which is required before the student and the parent meets with the counselor. Okay, so that would be sent out through Parent Square. The junior bio is basically a multiple page document in which the student will complete, and the family, parents, and guardians can sit down and help the student complete that questionnaire. And upon completion, you can bring it to the school counselor's office at the time of your junior conference meeting. In terms of the junior bio, it provides detailed information about the student. So the counselor can help the student identify potential colleges that are a right fit, educate students on majors and concentrations, and write the student's letter of recommendation. So again, it is essential that each student completes the junior biography because, as you can see, it's a well-utilized tool that we use, the school counselors use, to help decide on that final college list during junior conferences. What is a junior conference? Basically, it's an individualized meeting that you have the student, the parents, and the counselor to discuss the application that is unique, the process that is unique to that student. And so it depends on the student's interest, major. If the student is a student athlete, that conversation becomes, okay, have we registered with the NCAA, etc. So it becomes very individualized discussion. The same goes for students that are in the fine arts that not only would apply to the regular traditional way, but they would also, do an audition or a portfolio submission. So these are unique individualized junior conferences that also help, again, prepare for, discussion on major of study, the college list, as well as course selection for senior year, and just to prepare students for, what's to come. And of course, any questions that come up throughout the classroom presentation and tonight that perhaps need to be brought up in the individual meetings with the counselors can also be discussed. The junior bio, by the way, if we could please have those done by March 6th, so that way we can plan ahead, again, and the school counselors can review the bio ahead of time. And so we are going to continue along with the college. They'll deep dive into the college admissions process and the components. And first and foremost, I'm going to introduce Ms. Donahue, who's going to talk about the college admissions process that best suits the student.
Hello, everyone. So what you'll see in front of you are different deadlines, application, different types of admissions plans. So as you and your child are researching different schools that they are interested in applying to, you're going to notice different verbiage. Some of them is right here in front of you: regular decision, rolling admission, early action, early decision, and restrictive early action. So I want to point out that the only one that is a binding commitment is early decision. So what does that mean? If you apply to a school early decision, that means that you can only apply to one school in that type of way. And you're expected to attend that school if you are accepted. So we want to point that out, and again, as Ms. Almia pointed out, all those individual discussions about what is the best way to apply to each school can be discussed during the junior meeting, strategize and look at the list of schools that you're interested in, and consider which ways to apply to each school. Not every school has every combination of these different plans, so it's important as you're doing your research to take notes, to be organized about the different types of application plans and the dates and deadlines that each school sets. So regular decision for one school's deadline will be very different from another school, so those are some things to keep in mind. The last one, restrictive early action, we don't see often, and the rules are very different depending on each school. So that specifically, if you do see that, you want to follow up and look closely at the details. And again, your counselor can definitely help you work through that. But the main point here is that it's individualized per school, and the dates and deadlines are going to be different depending on that. So we're going to be looking at the components of the application tonight as well. And on the next slide, you're going to see what a transcript looks like. So the different parts of the application that a student has the opportunity to show to a college in a holistic process who they are and what they have to offer to their school. So of course, a high school transcript is part of that process. Letters of recommendation that schools will sometimes require or request. Sometimes they are optional. We always say optional. This never means optional. If it says optional, we're doing those things. So a counselor will always write a letter of recommendation for every student. And then depending on what the schools are requiring, there may be 1 to 2 teacher letters of recommendation required as well. There are some schools, again, that do not accept letters of recommendation, all very individualized rules for each school. This information is not hidden in any way. So if you're motivated after tonight's presentation, you go home and look at some of the schools you've been thinking about, it's going to be right on their admissions page is what they're looking for. But again, those questions can be answered with your counselor. So other ways in which a student can communicate to the college who they are and what they have to offer is in their personal statement or their essay. They're going to be taking that opportunity to tell the school who they are outside of what they can already see on a transcript. So we always advise students to find a way to show something different in each part of the application. We don't want to be redundant. We want to take each opportunity that is given to us to show a different part of you and what you have to offer to the university. So similarly, the activity resume, the student will be participating in listing the things that are most important to them in the order in which it is most important to them. We'll dive a little bit into that. As well as their standardized test scores, which again we will review in great detail. Some other parts of the application process are demonstrating your interest to the school. So what does this mean? Some schools actually track how interested a student is in their school. Ways in which they can do this is by attending the school's tours, speaking with advisors, admissions reps that come here to Cold Spring Harbor in the fall. I don't know how many of you know that we have over 80 representatives that come to Cold Spring Harbor and sit in the guidance office and talk to students in small group settings. So it's a wonderful opportunity for students to have face-to-face time with admissions reps here. And they track, some of the schools who do track, not every school does track demonstrated interest, but that's an opportunity to have that noted. Again, I go back to those if it is optional, an audition or an interview, then we do encourage students to take advantage of those opportunities as well. You have to just always consider the fact that admissions reps are reading many, many applications, so anytime that we can make our students stand out, we're going to encourage them to take advantage of those things. So this is the transcript I was referring to. So you'll notice that, of course, colleges, like I said, are looking at so many things in the application process. The transcript is definitely one piece of that holistic view and review of the student. So when they are applying to colleges, you have to consider, like at this point right now, our seniors are applying to colleges and they have not had their first semester in the senior year completed. So this is what their transcript to colleges would look like. Their courses from 8th grade, algebra, biology, and language. So you'll see 8th grade courses on there, which are really already started their transcript through the junior year. And then the senior year courses are listed. Of course, there's no grades or credits listed, but it is important to note, just so that all students and families are aware that the students' classes that they choose to enroll in are sent to the colleges as well. It's listed on their transcript, on that bottom left part right there. On the right side of the transcript, I'm sure you're familiar with seeing a transcript at this point, but just to see exactly what is being sent to the colleges, their grades earned, they are checking the level of rigor. Schools are offered a school profile, so that says what classes are offered here at Cold Spring Harbor High School, and then what courses are on their transcript, so they can compare what is offered to what the students have chose to take. So, courses taken versus offered. And the other thing is their GPA, of course, their cumulative unweighted and weighted GPA, you'll notice is on the bottom right hand of the screen, which again is comparing to the class size here at Cold Spring Harbor. So look at all the information that colleges are going to need at a glance on this transcript. Again, remember that this is one piece of the holistic review. As we continue through the presentation, you'll see the other pieces, but I know the transcript is something that, of course, we're always talking about and concerned about. And so they're looking at the grades, but also trends, the rigor of courses that are on the transcript. Is the student improving? Are they taking more difficult courses each year? Are they challenging? Are we seeing a trend of their passion, things that they're enjoying? We are not ever encouraging every student to take the highest level course all the time. We want to see what are they passionate about, and are they diving into that? Are they finding things along the way and showing to the colleges what have they learned? Where have they learned here in school, and how have they shown that, and how they continue to utilize at the university level?
Another important component of the college application is the letters of recommendation. And so as we send out supporting documents to the schools that the students have applied, such as the transcript, the school profile, along those letters of recommendation. And so the councils will be writing a letter of recommendation for each student, and which includes a more holistic, well-rounded profile and just the description of the student's activities and personalities, maybe a challenge that a student probably faced and overcame. And so the counselor's letter will definitely speak to, not only from an academic perspective, commitment, personality, strengths, interest, but also the person as a human being. The other, as Ms. Donahue had described, the letters of recommendation, a lot of the colleges do ask for 1 or 2 letters of recommendation, primarily from core subject teachers. And so we advise students to, if you haven't had a nice rapport with a teacher, to start, that nice relationship and rapport and contact, genuine contact, so that you can eventually, later in the spring, this is when you'll be requesting that letter of recommendation. And so we advise also that if a student is pursuing, let's say, a STEM-related major, that to focus on asking a teacher that taught that, science or math subject. But if you want to explore as to who would be the right teacher to ask, or the subject, etc., I would definitely bring it up to the counselor during your individual junior conference. And so we feel that the letters of recommendation speak volumes in terms of what's not only in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom, from the counselor's perspective, knowing the student and their engagement, leadership ability, and involvement in the community and the community at large here in town, as well as the teacher learning about the stamina, participation in class, study skills, leadership, and taking risk in the classroom, critical thinking, etc. And so these are, that's why it's definitely a major component. And one single component, such as the transcript, test scores, letters, is not more important than the other. So all of these are pieces of this puzzle that forms a strong college application. Next is the college essay. And so this is what I call the student's voice. This is your time to shine. This is the time to set yourself apart and talk about your passion. When I speak to the college representatives that have come my way through my 18 years in the field, as well as here during our rep visits, they say, we know that you have an amazing academic background, as we have seen, you know, your GPA. We know your test scores, you have disclosed those and you have sent those. We want to know, what is it about you that makes you stand out from the crowd and that makes you a good human being, a good roommate, if you will, if you're going to be dorming. And so I can speak to that from a professional school counseling perspective as well as a parent. I have a son who is in the STEM school, second year, sophomore, I can't believe it, mid-year, and heading to do a co-op in engineering. And so I can tell you that everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. It doesn't have to be a tragic story. It could be any calamity, any challenge that a student has faced, or a passion that they have pursued and they have been committed and dedicated throughout the years and have grown and is willing to share that out with the college admissions reps. The other thing is that college reps and the reader knows when the student writes that college essay. So that voice needs to be of that 17-year-old, 18-year-old person. If they detect when it's not the student speaking, you know, about their passion or whatever prompt they selected from the common application. We will have, I'm so excited to have 2 college representatives joining us on January 22nd, I believe, at 7 p.m. I will send a Parent Square notification, don't you worry, with regards to the college essay and the trending topic about AI and, you know, forming that and developing that college essay. And so I definitely encourage you to come join us and bring a friend or 2 or 3. It's open to everyone, not just for juniors, to explore the not complexity, but like the very intricate and the very, I guess, you know, I guess complex essay. You know, what the essay, it's really hard when you only have 650 words to express your passion, right, and to shine. The other thing is that pay attention to, as we are also, the counselors will be helping with the Common App and guiding you through, you know, completing that Common App and selecting that essay prompt, is that pay attention to that each college, as you enter that information in the Common App, that they do ask for supplementals, right? That they do ask to complete or to answer a 250 to maybe 400-word short essay about why your student wants to attend their university. Make it powerful, make it unique, make it authentic, and make it more about that, oh, I like your, you know, because you have a great football team. Make it more meaningful. And once again, we are here to support you every step of the way. Counselors are available if you need to see them multiple times throughout the year to discuss these topics. Please do so, whether it's a phone call, an email, and again, that opportunity of having that individualized meeting is paramount. So please take advantage of that resource. Next would be the activities resume. So again, this is incorporated in the common application. The common application is that college application that most likely most of the students will be completing. And so one of the things that we do ask students from the very beginning in high school, 9th grade, is to start writing down your activities. Activities that are done throughout the summer, such as volunteer work, community service, summer opportunities, internships, research, your engagement and involvement in clubs, and your growth if you became from a member of the club to a leader, a treasurer, a vice president, or president. List those on a year-to-year basis, because if you wait until the end of junior year, it's going to be so hard to go back and remember all the great things that you've done. You don't want to miss out on including that in the Common App. And once again, Colleges know that you guys are awesome, academically, you're strong. They need to know more about what is it that you do, not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom and in your community. And so the activities resume will disclose your interest, your passion, that you have been dedicated to a cause, right? Or you have dedicated your time to a sport, right? And you have led maybe a team. Also that you have developed leadership skills and qualities throughout these involvements and activities. Again, we discuss always following your passion and exploring that and expressing that not only in the essay, but also in the activities resume. And listing your honor society accolades, your athletics, your NISMA, all of the great accomplishments and recognitions. Just list away. So I would definitely encourage you to take the moment, after tonight, start to create that sheet year to year. And so next is college testing with Mr. Stanato.
Good evening. I wanted to share the next component of the college application process, which is college testing. In October, 11th graders sat and experienced and took the PSAT and SQT, which is a baseline or measurement for students to see where they can improve long-term with practice. We believe that students should take, and we suggest, take 2 assessments before the end of June. 2 SATs or 2 ACTs or a combination of both would be nice. How can this be set up? Students, parents can register at the College Board or the ACT.org website to make sure that they are assigned an assessment. Which test do you think is the right fit? It comes from practice and time. I think over time, which I'll talk about in a minute, you'll recognize what might be the best fit for your sons and daughters. But I first want to talk about test optional colleges. So many colleges are test optional, which for some students is a good thing because the policy of that college or institution essentially says you can submit or not submit, and that for some students is a helpful tool. For some competitive colleges, though, I'd like to share that when you submit your application, although they subscribe to a policy that is test optional, they may require submission of the SAT and the ACT. Additionally, some colleges are test blind, where a school essentially will not review the score as a part of the admissions process. I'd like to share also, with regards to the PSAT, if you'd like to have that score reviewed and looked at with us, a counselor, please contact us, email, call. We can go over those scores with you. And we are open to conversation with students, too, to review and discuss that score from the PSAT back in October. Next, college testing in terms of registration dates. The SAT and the ACT have their own testing dates or registration dates. It's in the handout. It'll be on the school website. You can go visit the collegeboard.org or the ACT.org website for these dates. So the first spring assessment is going to be March 14th, 2026 to the February 27th, 2026 registration deadline date. That's for the SAT. For the ACT, it's February 14th, 2026 for the registration date of January 9th, 2026. My suggestion from experience would be that as time is progressing and you have the son or daughter practicing and preparing for their assessment, to check in with the best timeline for their assessment, the live ones that are going to count. That way, you don't fall behind with registration. As time progresses, people start to gather and start to do the research and start to register for the assessments. What I'm concerned about is seating. So I would take the time to research the best dates and then sign up accordingly. That way they have a seat for their assessment. With regard to test preparation, which I was alluded to a couple of slides ago, we are offering the Princeton Review free SAT, ACT practice test at home. The QR codes are accessible to practice that you received, and also the Princeton Review website. This registration date is good until December 30th, and students have a 4-month window from the time they register to to practice these assessments at home. Again, how do I discover what test is right for my son or daughter? It's going to come with practice. So having access to the PSAT, recognizing your baseline, finding areas of improvement will help, in addition to the Princeton review. Another method for preparation would be Methodize, which is available to all Coastal Harbor students. Sure.
Do you know if that's an old ACT format or a new one?
It's a good question. What I can do is find out and get back to you on that. I know that the SAT is digital and the ACT is digital on paper. With regards to test preparation, we also offer Methodize, which is available to all Coastal Harbor students, and that's available through Castle Learning. So it's another tool for students to recognize their ability, diagnostic measurement for improvement. So for example, if a student were to log into Methodize, take an SAT or an ACT, get the results, they can recognize there's an improvement bar. For example, maybe the results on the PSAT, or maybe the results from their SAT, for example, or with Methodize allude to improvement in the heart of algebra, for example. Students can then go in to this application and review math and reading. So for example, maybe vocabulary was an issue or a challenge for the students. What's great about Methodize is that it's flexible. They can work on their own time. Go in and do some vocabulary, or improve in geometry, or part of algebra to improve their score. So as time goes by, and you're working with your son and daughter and the application process is coming through, just make note that having a couple of assessments done by this June would be nice. And also recognizing their strengths or challenge points within these assessments and work on those to fine-tune performance would be very wise as well. And of course, the counselor uses this as a tool for conversation with regards to improvement as well. We love to talk and share about score, the assessment as well, Methodize, the PSAT, right, and the Princeton review. So we're open to all conversation regarding that. I'd like to now share the podium with Mrs.
Hi, everyone. So earlier in the presentation, Ms. Donahue introduced demonstrated interest. And she shared it's not something that every college tracks, but what I want to emphasize is that you can't go wrong with demonstrating interest because it's an opportunity for you to learn about the colleges that you're interested in and determine if they're a good fit for you. So as part of the application, it's something that you could start as soon as now. It's a little less tangible and it's tracked by the colleges that do monitor it. And that may be through rep visits at the high school. They were here, about 80 colleges this fall. Interacting with college reps at college fairs. There were a number this fall as well, and there's going to be a handful this spring. Visiting college campuses. I know a number of students have already started touring and interacting with college admissions reps on their campuses. Engaging with emails. If you're receiving emails from colleges, it's very important to open and read them. Engaging with colleges on social media, they can actually track that as well. And then contacting college reps directly if you have specific questions. One thing we caveat with that is if it's a question that you can easily answer with research on the website, don't contact the college reps for that. If there's a serious question that you have, please reach out to them directly. They're the experts of their own colleges. Another way that you could demonstrate interest would be engaging in an interview opportunity. A lot of colleges have alumni or students that are currently enrolled interviewing prospective students. So if that's an optional opportunity, we encourage you to take advantage of that as well. And then for schools that haven't been tracking demonstrated interest for their general application pool, and a lot of conversations with college admissions reps, they brought up using it on the wait list. So I'm sure many of you have heard the trend of deferral and wait list for many of the colleges that our students are applying to, and they're actually pulling students off the wait list who have visited campus because they know that student would choose to come over another who might not have visited. So even if demonstrated interest is not the most important factor to the college you're interested in at the very beginning of the process, it will not hurt you in the long run. And again, you're learning more about the schools that are of interest to you. Naviance. So our Naviance is our college and career research tool. It was introduced first by Ms. Pickard all the way back in junior high, and that was when students were focusing on early career development. We reintroduced it to students again last year in the 10th grade for students to further understand their strengths and how that may connect to possible career interests. That always leads to interesting conversations because sometimes the strengths are kind of off base, but it's also helpful for us to know what our students are not interested in just as much as what they are interested in and why. So our Naviance interest inventories have led to some really good and fun conversations about careers and possible majors. Now for juniors, we're shifting into more of utilization of Naviance for college research. So our students will be able to see their standardized test scores in Naviance, utilize scattergrams, which plot them in a data chart that shows our previous applicants to schools of interest. And then moving into senior year, students will be able to utilize Naviance as part of the application process. And we'll get into more detail of that into senior year. That's not the piece that you need to worry about right now. What we want you to focus on is Naviance as a college research tool. Building a college list that we could share digitally and during our meetings in our junior conferences. And before that point, if you have questions, we'll be working with students in understanding Naviance. And it is the focus of our third classroom lesson in January. We know that some of our students are interested in playing sports at the collegiate level, so if that is something of interest to you, please reach out to your counselor so that they can support you with this process. All of these links will also be available digitally when the PowerPoint is posted, but the main takeaway here is that we would love for you to communicate if this is something of interest to you so that we can support you with that. None of us will ever claim to be athletic experts, but we will support you on the academic side of the NCAA eligibility process. So here's our 11th grade timeline. We are at lines 1 and 2 for our college kickoff event right now, moving into session 2 in the classroom tomorrow, and then session 3 in January. Some major things that we talked about today were the college planning for testing, and then also want you to be mindful of the junior bio. It's a really helpful tool for us to get to know your student. One thing I want to add about that is I learned so much from parents when they complete the junior bio. I have known these students for now 2.5 going on 3 years, and sometimes I don't know they're a left-handed oboe player, and they're really passionate about it, and they spend 80 hours a week being funny, but there's really important things about your students that we wouldn't otherwise know if you as parents don't share that with us, that they don't recognize is important. So just to emphasize that, if you could complete that and share it with us ahead of your junior conference, it's truly appreciated. And looking ahead to 12th grade, this is more of the application completion, submission, and then decision-making process. So it's right around the corner, so we're giving you a look ahead of what September and on will bring for your students before they become Seahawk alumni. So this will be shared online as well and in the printout thing. I'll give it back to Ms. Alina.
How are we doing? 1, 2 thumbs up, good? Okay. So once again, definitely this is a lot to digest, and we are here to support you and to expand and elaborate and have those discussions with you one-to-one, and counselors are definitely more than fully equipped to take on and you're more than happy to assist. And so this is a summary of us as stakeholders in terms of the college application and planning process. So this is a summary of our roles. And as you can see, the student is the protagonist of this story, right? They're the focal point. And so let's go over quickly our different roles. And so the Counseling Center, obviously, we provide access to and give you resources. We provide you thorough and clear explanation of the college admissions process and emphasize that if there is time-sensitive tasks, that when those are and share those ahead of time. Offer individualized feedback, honest and kind and candid feedback. And then also the Counseling Center is responsible for sending official documents and transcripts, letters of recommendation, the counselor letter of recommendation, the school profile. The student would complete the junior bio, complete the application, and compose, revise, review, and revise, and their feedback on that essay. Do that supplemental essay, which is, even though the colleges say it's optional, it's not optional. The student is responsible for sending the official SAT, ACT scores, requesting the letters of recommendation from teachers, engage with college representatives. I know I saw many juniors meet with the college reps this fall, which we had for the first time. We had opened that opportunity to our juniors, and we thought it was well received, and the college reps were very happy to see them as well. And so the student will engage in college with the college reps, at, not only here at local and regional college fairs. And please save the date, because we will have our very own college fair in-house on March 30th, Monday, March 30th, from 6:30 to 8:30. We will send out a Parent Square notification and reminders, but we're so excited to have and host multiple colleges, and that will be in the Little Gym. So we definitely hope to see you, and that's another way to have those personal discussions with the reps, demonstrated interest, and follow up with them, right? That's very important. And so the other role and responsibility that we do encourage and recommend students to have is to maintain their grades, make sure that you're keeping up with your grades, but also reaching out and asking for help. We have extra help. We have so many resources that we offer so that students can academically be successful. And then also confirm material is received by the college. So students, you will definitely make sure that you will be in contact with the school and also with us and the school counselor when materials are still outstanding and need to be sent to the schools. Parents, you are a really, really important part of this process. Although we do love you lots, we also encourage you to have your student own the process. I was guilty of saying, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to follow this, or let's go over your checklist, let's go over your spreadsheet, etc. And by the way, we have provided you with a timeline and a checklist. And last month, we share out the college application tracker, and we will talk more about that in the junior conferences. But you know, me, I was guilty, not only because I'm a director of counseling and a former high school counselor with the knowledge and experience, but I was guilty of saying to my kid, hey, you should do this, that, and the other. And so I know that you're not going to be like me, and you're going to also work shoulder to shoulder with your child in terms of this, the process, and have them own it. And it's going to be very emotional, very stressful in a good way, like planning for, a wedding or, a special occasion, but it's all worth it, and we're very optimistic that each and every one of you will have many celebrations come May 1st of 2027, yes, and that your child will be heading to a school that is the right fit and that is that you're happy going. And so the college will notify the student of the decision. So that is depending upon the students, as Ms. Donahue pointed out, the different application deadlines and ways of applying a early action versus early decision. So colleges have their own timeline in terms of their decision release. answer any questions. So while you're applying and after you send that application, you are encouraged to reach out to that college rep to ask so many pertinent, specific questions with regards to maybe the program of study that you're interested in, or any new and innovative programs that the school is offering. And then educate students about their school and provide financial opportunities, scholarship opportunities. One word of advice: you will need to definitely go and visit the school's website, because a lot of specialized scholarships is hidden there. And so that's definitely a word of advice. The other thing is that we will have in the fall of your senior year a financial aid night, in which we will have a financial aid expert from a local school, college, explain the process of applying for federal as well as state aid. So that's important to attend in the fall of next year, senior year. We added additional information and resources, and these are hyperlinks. I will send out through Parent Square this presentation along with our YouTube link, so that you can also view the recording and go back to this as many times as you want. So first and foremost, you have the 11th grade college planning resource guide, digital form, but also is the one that you're holding in your hands. The 11th grade college planning checklist and timeline. We developed this streamlined checklist that mirrors what's in that resource guide. We just wanted to shorten it for you. If you just want to go and focus and go straight to that checklist, that's it. So you would click on that hyperlink. Next would be Naviance login page, in which you can also conduct college research, as well as do a preview of scholarship information. We do house and send out notifications through Naviance, so it's another way that Naviance can operate. And then the Counseling Center website, I don't know if you noticed, but we have revamped our website. We're so proud of it. We have tried to streamline it as fast as possible by putting it in different settings when it comes to academic planning, college and career planning, all of the presentations, classroom presentations, everything's going to be there. So it's like a one-stop shop type of concept, so that you don't have to do so many clicks. So we simplified it. We hope you like it. We hope you visit. And so right now, I'm just going to open the floor to some questions. We're eager to speak with you. You can also approach us in a few minutes, but I just wanted to open the floor if you have any specific questions or even general questions. So we will be here if you want to approach us to ask questions. Once again, we are here with you every step of the way. You will be fine. I know it's easier said than done, but trust me, I went through the process myself with a student who's college bound and a student that took another pathway, a non-college pathway. So I do recognize that every student is unique, has their own path, their own journey, their own desire to go to that very specific school that calls you your name, that calls you, that is the best fit. We will have a workshop about college admissions trends presented by Rob Brannick, who is the editor-in-chief of the Princeton Review. That's in March. Last year, we talked about the finding the best fit. This year, he's going to incorporate that discussion with also the hot topic of AI and college admissions. And you're going to be able to follow up with him if you have any questions that evening, as well as thereafter. But then the next event will be January 22nd, which is our college essay writing workshop by two of our great college reps from SUNY, Oswego, as well as Penn State. So we're here for you. It's going to be a great rest of the year. Happy holidays. And we can't wait to see you in the Counseling Center to discuss your hopes and dreams and your course selection for next year. And have a great night.